welcome to Series 2 of the Big Change podcast brought to you by Callisto Grant. In this series, the focus is on leaders and entrepreneurs, people who break the mold and push back barriers to fulfill dreams and ambitions and are successful in their own right. We explore the change catalysts, how to maintain passion, focus and dedication over a long period of time.
Every day moving further, and every day trying to learn something more, to bring our clients something more, and that's the everyday push.
My guest today is Jakub Klečka. Jakub is the founder and CEO of Klečka, a very successful company based in Brno, Czech Republic, specializing in sound, light, stage and video production. I'm delighted to say they're also our partners at the annual Credit Matters conference. I've worked closely with Jakub and his team for more than 5 years, and today we're diving deeper into the story behind the man and what makes a successful entrepreneur. So, good morning, Jakub.
Hey, good morning, Mark.
So great to speak to you again. You're still a young guy in your early 30s. When did you formally start Klečka?
Well, thank you for young men. And the former start of Klečka was one day after my 18th birthday. It was like my dream to come to the building where you get the license for business. So I was really happy to go there and get the license. It was just about 1,000 crowns. And, it was quite happiness for the students to start with the business.
Okay. So that kind of implies then that you weren't going to be a traditional employee, that you were going to work for yourself. When did you identify that? Was it going through school that you probably weren't going to work in an office or something like that?
Sorry for a small mistake. That was the official start of my business. But actually, I started a few years before my 18th birthday, and it was some small work, some small brigades for another companies, and that's maybe what you are asking now. If it was the plan to make the business, to not be an employee, and it was. I guess that the first inspiration was my father, who made a lot of small businesses. He is a camera operator, the video camera, and I have been on the many events with him, such as concerts, the company conferences, and all this stuff was around me. So yes, I've been there. I've seen that. And meantime, I have been interested in making the computers, the building, mantling together. So that was the usual stuff for a teenager in that age, to build the computers, to make some small web pages, and that was the things I was interested in. And so that was actually the way, because I've been getting better and better, and thanks to my stepfather, who had a company for advising to other companies how to make the system processes and other stuff. He gave me a lot of work in the very beginning, to make their website, to deliver some computers. So that was the really start of the business. And yeah, when you taste, that's that's something there has never been something I've been thinking if I want to make more business. It was usually, okay, let's make something more bigger, more interesting, let's move forward. So when I stepped to the real business with the license at the 18th, it was just the continuing way to make it bigger.
Okay, so you got these two influences, if you like. You got your curiosity and your interest in building computers and seeing how far you can expand them, and you got the influence of your father, who was was working on in the entertainment industry.
Yes.
And knowing you as I do now, and the things that you do in the live performances and so on, and conferences and that, what was there kind of a eureka moment when you put the two things together, that the visual side of things and the computer side of things?
Well, there was a moment. It was third grade of the high school, or no, fourth, the last year in the high school, and there was a moment when my father had real life problems. He stepped out of the way, so I'm not sure if I should explain this, but he vanished from my life for a few years there. Okay. And that was the moment, because at that time he was the manager of the Brno subsidiary of the company which made the events.
Right.
And I've been there such as a technician, the cable guy, the roadie guy, load in, load out, and this stuff. And when he vanished, and when I say vanished, it was really like one day switch and he was gone. Wow. Somewhere. And my decision was to continue in his work for the Prague company who had the subsidiary here in Brno. So I took his job at the manager level, and that was the point when I decided, wow, I am able to do this. And let's go to do this, because the Prague company, it took 6 months maybe, and they canceled the contract for the Brno trade fairs, and they moved away from Brno. So that was the deciding if I want to continue in the real events and the connection with the equipment.
So quite a traumatic time, but also you showed a lot of courage there to pick up the business. And how was that from just from like a personal point of view? Because I mean, you are now. You were a young guy then, so you looked very youthful. How was it to approach other people, companies, and say, hey, come and work with me. Put your faith in me. I'm 19 or 20 years old, or whatever. Yeah, there must have been some challenge there.
Oh yes, it was. But to be honest, at that time, I've been still living with my mother and stepfather, so the cost for the living was not such a big, and it wasn't needed to have so much business, so much money to earn money each month. But anyway, yes, it was step by step. The first thing was that I have grabbed my earned money. It was 20,000 crowns, and I went to buy the first plasma screen.
Right.
And it was all my money I had, and even next 20,000 crowns I had to borrow from my stepfather.
Okay.
With the promise I will give it to him back in 1 month. So for the beginner in business, it's not the best deal, but yes, I wanted to go there. So I've bought 2 plasma screens, and I started with few events. And yes, it helped me to manage last month of the work with the Prague company here in Brno, because they have moved back to Prague, but the clients here in Brno still wanted to continue with the work which we started, because as you know, usually it's about the relationship and the people, not just about the logo or the name of the company who's on the invoice. So that was the first help for me, the first few rentals of the plasma screens. And when I earned some money, the thing was that it wasn't just spent, it was again invested, and again and again. So that was the small steps further, but usually it was the same. I earned some money, I invested. When I bought 2 screens, then I bought next 3 or 4 pieces. Then I bought some speakers and, small steps. But it took time, definitely. But it was really good way to say it, because I haven't any problem with the money for some bank, or, it's such easy to go to the bank and take some money for something which you think it will be working.
Yeah.
And in about a year or so, say, okay, it wasn't working, sorry. But this was different, I have earned money and then I invested again.
Yeah.
And when I made the right decision, it earned money again, and so on.
Okay. And then to build a business network and have a continuing pipeline of business, that takes a lot of effort, and it's often unrewarded. How did you progress in the early days? Moving from the first to with the Prague company, how did you move on then to get other contracts?
It wasn't really helped by them, because the big help which they gave me was that they moved from Brno to Prague. So that was the big help for me, because here was the empty space and somebody could fill it. Of course, there are some companies in Brno, but it's about, attitude which you come to the client. And of course, the big help for me in that times was the contract with the trade fairs Brno, with the Veletrhy Brno, Akciová společnost.
Okay, so
that was the first few things with the first plasma screens I bought. From the very beginning, it was really just, hey, Jakub, we have seen your sign on the storage, on the warehouse, which you have on our area. And would you be able to provide 1 screen or 2 screens, something? Because our contractor have no possibilities to deliver more. So that was the first thing. I rented few screens, let's say really 1 or 2 pieces, and few people noticed that, okay, this cooperation can work. He's okay. He has modern equipment. He understands that really well. And when he says something, it worked. When we discussed some price, the same price was on invoice. That was the big problem with other companies here. That deal was, let's say, 5,000, and on the invoice was 6,000, and they said, oh, there was something more, sorry. So that was something I've been different.
Yes, I understand. It's important to have your own kind of identity in business, isn't it? And try to stand out from competition. So, so then you started to build the momentum then, and you were getting this follow-on work, albeit around as a result of being around the exhibition center. At the end of the day, people buy people. So to keep business going is really all about personalities, connection, chemistry, that kind of thing. What would you say are the special qualities that you have?
Well, special qualities. It's the thing that I'm every day moving further. I'm every day trying to learn something more, to bring our clients something more, and that's the everyday push, And sometimes it's about to rethink why would I cooperate with some client? Because usually it's about, I want your money, of course, yeah, but not from me. I'm trying to make it quite differently. I'm trying to think about what my client really needs, not just that he needs my equipment or my employees.
Yeah.
It's about that I'm trying to think what really the client needs, and if there is something I can help with in my way, yes, that's the perfect thing. If not, okay, let's make some chat, and no worries, maybe we will meet another day, So that's the difference.
About creating an experience.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I will absolutely confirm that point, because having worked with you on 6 years now running, it's not just, as you say, here's some screens, here's a lot of cables, here's a few people, let's plug in, let's get going.
Yes.
Knowing from my own experience, you and I talk probably 20 or 30 times before a conference about how we can actually make it, as you said, an experience. It's something, not just a typical PowerPoint click onto the next speaker, but how we can add other atmosphere, image, colors. And we set off fire alarms.
Yeah.
Remember one time in a hotel, right? We were trying to have smoke and things like that. Yeah, so I'm totally with you on that. So on the subject,
so let everybody enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah, and take away something different. And in whatever business you have, it's exactly as you say. It's about trying to push the barriers a little bit and trying to say, well, yes, there's 100 people doing what we do around the world, but we do it a little bit differently. And at the end of the day, it really is about that people relationship. And one thing I always admire is your adaptability and calmness, or what looks like adaptability and calmness under pressure. I'll explore that a little bit more now as well. I'll say, so what's the biggest event you've organized?
Oh, the biggest. Well, there was a lot of them, and it's hard to say which one is the biggest. But by the way, your conference is one of the how to say it, best in the enjoyment, because usually conferences are like boring stuff, but the cooperation with you is really, really enjoying. So, and the conference looks like this, as you mentioned, the colors, the the screens, but the connection between everything, and to make it a bit fun makes it a really big project in our company. So yes, one of them are definitely yours. But anyway, other stuff are like the biggest ballroom for the students in the Brno University of Technology, which takes place in the Brno Trade Fairs in Hall P. That's the really biggest event for the students of its kind. I think there is a capacity of 5,000 people inside there.
Yeah.
So that's one of the biggest, to say how many people is there. And let me think about it.
Most complex?
Few events, yeah.
What was the most complex event? The most complex event?
Usually it's the events in let's say Germany. There are a lot of work for us. Usually, not these days because of the coronavirus, of course, but usually yes. In Germany, we've made some events for the Facebook company and for the YouTube company. And that's quite huge things, and it's really complex. Yes, from the design of everything, from where the table will be, or where the chair, or how much chairs will there be, to the very end of the DJ. Let's say it was really from our side delivered the DJ for the Facebook stand. It was okay. You want to deliver the DJ from Czech Republic. Are you sure? Oh yes, we trust you. Deliver the best what you think for our event. So yeah, we brought there the DJ from Brno.
Okay.
And so that's usually the complex things, because these big companies they don't want to get stressed from connecting few companies together. They want one partner and make everything works.
Sure. No, I understand that. So it's moved along well in the intervening years, and you're now working all over Europe. I think you said you had contracts in Spain last year or early this year.
Yes.
How many?
Yes.
So from going from being like yourself and just having a few plasma screens, how many people do you have working for you now?
Now it's about 8 people as an employee.
And then others come and go as and when they're needed, contractors and so on.
Oh yes, when they are needed, we have the database of 14 guys, which are quite similar to our employees. I mean, at the skill level, they are able of anything which we need, such as the sound designers and light designers and camera operators and all the other functions in our company. But we don't have so much work for them, so we cannot afford to make them as an employees. But yes, next 14 people who cooperate with us, and of course rest 30 or 40 people who helps us to load in, load out, to bring something there, and the small stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's got to be one of the hardest parts of what you do. And having seen it on the scale of our conference, the amount of boxes and technical equipment and trucks that turn up, that's a huge logistical project, isn't it? Just getting the stuff there.
It's a lot of things.
Okay. When you look back over the last 10 years or so and the growth of the company, what would you advise the 20-year-old Jakub?
Definitely to not be afraid to be big enough.
That's great.
It's hard to explain, but yes, I would say to 20 years old Jakub, go to it. Don't be afraid of anything. Don't look around you to your competitors in the way that they are bad or so. Just notice what they are doing, but do your thing, do your way. So that's it. Yes.
Follow your own instincts. Is that
yes.
part of it? Yeah. Yes. Okay. That actually is really important. I think we're all
maybe one important thing. Maybe one important thing. Don't be afraid to make first employee.
Yeah.
To hire first employees. Yeah.
I think that's important, isn't it? To have other people around you. You can only do so much on your own.
Yes. But it was really, really scary to decide to hire first employee, to make each month so much money for the government and the man who I was hiring. But now, when I'm thinking about it, it was a waste of time, thinking few months if I should do it or not. So that was the thing. Yeah, don't be afraid of this. Go for it.
But it is a big step, though, isn't it? Because taking on somebody else is a big responsibility. But I understand where you're coming from there. I've been through the same route myself, so I do understand that. But once you've done it, you think, okay, that wasn't so difficult.
Yes, and then next, and you say, would I have so much work? And when you hire somebody, so much work, we need to hire somebody else.
Well, it tends to become kind of self-perpetuating, doesn't it? When you take the leap. I mean, the first leap is you say, I'm going to do my own business and this is what we're going to do. So to look after myself, I need to generate income. I need to go and get business. And then when you take on other people and the responsibility for them, that's one element that keeps you focused to continue that. As a minimum, you've got to earn enough money to, as you said, meet all your obligations as far as salaries and taxes and all that kind of thing.
Yes.
And then it continues to build. Okay. So when, what should I say is ignoring or assuming the current situation will let's hope that it goes away quite soon, the COVID situation for everybody. What does the future hold for Jakub and for the Klech organization?
I would be happy if I know it, but let's say I hope that, as you mentioned, it will become again great, because people need to entertain. Of course, it's a part of our naturality to have some joyness. So I hope that it will work again. And if I would say what's the future, I have some small plans to build the mid-size management in my company, to grow up a bit, but let's say to have 20 or 25 employees, and that's that's something need to work on hard, but it's really hard at these times to to think out how to do it. But I'm pretty sure that when it will be able to make events, I will find the way, because now I'm working very hard to push the competencies on my employees so I can make the company bigger, because that's what it needs, my time and my skill to make it bigger.
And as you said, the succession planning, looking to develop your people so that they come through and become the managers of the future. Yeah. Yes,
I would like to make the biggest conferences and the biggest company events, at least in Czech Republic. That's my future plan. I know it's a bit high, but who doesn't have high,
Oh no, you got to have high ambitions, and I think we certainly share that ambition. As you know, it's my plan my dream to have conferences much bigger than we do at the moment. So my plan is that we'll do that together.
Yeah, I hope so.
Jakub, I think,
no. It will be also my pleasure, of course.
Thanks. I think that's a great place to close. It's been a real pleasure talking to you this morning, as it always is. So I wish you every success. Good luck, and we'll speak many times in the future, you and I. But good luck with everything. You take good care.
Of course. Thank you very much. And if I will come in a way of crazy idea, you are the first man I'm calling to.
I look forward to that call. Thanks a lot, mate. You take good care.
You too. Take care. Bye.
Bye.